or if you're trying to shoot a mountain scene or something like that, a lake or whatever, and you're going to shoot. I've had up to 7, 8, 9 photos that I shoot as a panoramic across, and then later put them into Photoshop and bring them all into one long picture. I actually sold a picture one time up at Big Bear. It was 18 inches tall by 60 inches wide. And it was about 7 different shots of an area up there put together. And the only way you're going to do that really is on a tripod.
Panoramas.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about panoramas.
Rules third and focusing, doing the focus stacking on your landscape.
Oh, yeah, that's another reason, focus stacking. I shoot a lot of landscape, and I like to have a real interesting foreground. Main subject, big thing that really catches your attention in the middle, and then the clouds, the mountains, or whatever in the background. But, you know, if you focus on right here in front of us, well, that stuff way out there, 100 yards out, is going to be slightly out of focus. And especially you get a half mile out, is going to be more out of focus. So I've had the same thing again, focus, 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 focus. And again, put them all into Photoshop, put them together, and now the entire scene all the way through is in focus. And again, the only way you're going to do that is on a tripod. But it'll improve your photography tremendously in the fact that everything's in focus. And another thing on a tripod, I know one of the big issues we have at competitions, you'll hear a judge, especially on landscapes, you know, that horizon is really crooked. Not many ocean shots slope like this, but I've seen the pictures like that. With a tripod, you can sit there with a level and get your horizon straight.
Terrific. So there are a lot of reasons why to get a tripod. So let's go ahead and grab yours. Go ahead and let's take a look. I'm going to grab mine over here. And we're actually going to look bottom up. So turn your tripod upside down. And let's look at the feet. So let's take a look at the feet. So who has rubber feet? Okay. Who has rubber feet that move? Oh, you got rubber feet that move over there. My feet are not moving. Yours aren't moving. Yours are not moving. But you have something special on the bottom of yours. Yeah, little knobby things. Yeah, you've got spikes. Okay. Right. So the feet on your tripod, you can have Wayne, what are you doing over there? Oh, so you can. Okay. So spikes. Why would somebody want spikes? Oh, there's some spikes. Okay. They're kind of like cleats. Cleats for your tripod. And in what condition would you use cleats for your tripod?
Sand. Kind of sand.
Ice? I don't know about sand. Sand's kind of,
I mean, sand.
yeah, sand. Hard ground, right? Typically rocks, right? Where you needed something to kind of dig in over there. Or versus it more, or something you stick it in like grass. I mean, when do you use? I'm asking because I've never used spikes on my tripod.
I don't think I ever have. Depends on where you are.
Yeah.
Depends on where you are
Yeah.
and what your situation is. I did it in Iceland, on ice, Antarctica, in ice.
Oh, ice.
Lava was actually flowing.
Okay.
So it depends on what your situation is.
Yeah, it would depend, right? But sometimes if you've been on situations where you're on some sort of angle, rocky angle, and you kind of have to set it. Yeah, Russ? We can hear your conversation. You don't have your hearing aids in. You're loud. So yeah, when you're on a precarious kind of situation, having a little bit extra oomph. So this is why oftentimes the feet are rubber. And so that gives it a little bit extra bit of grip. Just like your sneaker, it gives it a little bit extra grip. Okay, now let's take a look at, you can go ahead and turn it upside down again. I guess right side back up. But what kind of, how do you extend the legs? Okay, we've got, who has turn the knob kind? Okay, you got turn the knob kind, right? And you've got turn the knob kind. You have lever. Who has levers? Okay, I've got levers. So I've got the levers over here that you turn the levers.
I thought you just said extend the leg.
Yeah, well, you extend the legs. Well, what do you call it when you make the legs go out? Doing that, right? So when you telescope the legs, right? Most of them have something that you unlock and then you lock, right? And that could be a flip or a turn. What's the advantage? Is there an advantage? Rick?
I've never tried the ones with the turn, but I don't see any way that after a little time and those loosen up, that you can tighten them.
Hmm?
On the levers, you've got the bolt right underneath over time. This is well over 20 years old. And if it starts to get loose, you just get a wrench and tighten it up.
Bruce, what's been your experience?
Different kind of, like 6 tripods, and they are both, this type, you just, keep on screwing in.
Yep.
It's tighter and tighter, so.
Hasn't been an issue. One of the advantages of the screw kind is you easier to clean. So for example, if you're shooting at the beach and you're talking about sand, yeah, sand in your tripod, it's kind of like sand in your, shorts, it can rub you the wrong way. And so to clean it, making sure that it's easy to clean is can be an issue. So how many, I don't know, what do we call these? Extensions? Staggers? Okay, how many staggers do you have? Mike?
I have a question on, is either one more durable?
Well, Rick was saying that's what his experience was. I've had people have both. Deborah?
My experience matches Rick. I had one that twist and I got it all full of sand and tried to clean it myself and it's never been the same. It'll just like start to collapse on me.
Mhm.
Maybe my hands just aren't tight enough to keep, I can't tighten it as much, but I could much prefer this.
Yep. So tell, how many pieces do you have? So I've got three. Bruce, how many do you have? 4 plus 1. How many? 4. No, you don't count that. Just the leg part. 2, 1, Russ?
Why don't we see a show of hands, how many people have tripods that have 4 sections and who have 3 sections?
All right. Who has 3 sections? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. At least half of you. Okay. Who has 4? Okay. Yeah. 4 at home. Okay. 4. Is there an advantage to one over the other?
The one advantage of having the more typically means the collapse size is smaller.
Ah, the collapse size is smaller. Why would you want collapse size smaller?
Show them your case, portability.
Okay.
It's either violin or machine gun.
So I'm going to turn this camera around here so you can see that. So this is the case right over here that's hanging on the tripod. And then Wayne, you brought yours in. Can you show us your case?
Actually, it's not the case for this
Tripod, but.
Okay. Right, now hold it up. Okay, that is twice as big as the other one, right? Yeah, it's a whole different deal. Whole different case. So,
Put it in a suitcase, you want one that folds up.
right. So size matters in terms of portability, right? In terms of portability. Yes, Russ.
Hey, Ruth, something else I've noticed, I've got two tripods there. They're both carbon fibers, but if you look at the thickness of the legs, this one has much thicker legs, especially when you get to the last extension. And if you notice on this other one, it has thinner legs. So this one, as you consider buying a tripod, would end up being more steady when you put your camera on it versus this one here, but this one's a lot lighter but it's gonna maybe be a little bit more wobbly or when you put a heavy camera
Right.
on it.
Julie, can you undo your telescope here? Yeah. Okay, we've got that going on, and then look at that last tiny one. That is pencil thin, which makes it very, very light to carry. But in terms of sturdiness, there's always that balance that you're trying to work. And now I think you have the smallest one here, Deborah. What is this tripod? This is, yeah, that's itsy bitsy. Here, I'm gonna come closer for that. Here,
This is one I use for tabletop. I'm not gonna be able to.
You want small?
Yeah, right. Well, it's not tripod-y, right? Yeah. Right. Well, this one I use for tabletop because it's very adjustable. You can do that with it. You can do like tilt like that. You can make the column go up or down. So that's why I like this one. So, and it also has an adaptation for for a phone, but the difference with this is it has a Manfrotto type quick release plate. I don't know if anybody's using those much anymore, but but that and a little plate came with it, but I also have the old Manfrotto plates.
so we've got the oh, there's even tinier over there. That is, hold that up for me.
Beyond my phone, right?
And what do you use it for?
When I don't have this with me.
And it'll hold your camera?
Hold it.
Yeah.
And extend out.
Oh, my word. That's right.
Simply takes. I've done photography with it.
Yep.
I just put it on the top of my car and.
Oh.
Interesting idea.
An important consideration if you're going to be flying with your tripod. Most tripods are too big to go in carry-on, so you have to put it in a suitcase. It has to be small enough to get into your largest suitcase. This one gets into my largest suitcase, but it won't fit in the rest of them. That only if you're flying. If you're not flying, it's not a big deal. But if you are considered flying, make sure that your tripod, when it's collapsed, will fit in your suitcase.
Without your head.
Right, and that we're going to get to heads here pretty soon. So what is your tripod made of? How many of you have metal of some sort? Okay, so is it aluminum? Yep. No, that's not carbon. That's definitely okay. We've got some metal ones. Some of oh, there we go. That's metal for sure. That's
What I like about this tripod though, is when I'm shooting in my garage or I'm doing some tabletop photography, unlike the carbon ones that are really light, this is made out of metal and it's sturdy and it will sit in the place that I put it. I won't accidentally kick it or knock it or move it, or accidentally bump it. It's something that's really nice. And then the other thing I like about it. If you're doing tabletop photography and you're something close and you've got whatever you're shooting on the table, you've got this column that you can go up and down and adjust your height, which is really nice. And with my really right stuff there, it doesn't have a column in the middle of it. And so I can't do that. So I'll use this one when I want to go up and down, but I don't want to use this for landscape because you can see that's kind of shaky.
We're gonna get to columns here in a minute.
Sorry.
We've got metal. We've got, you've got a metal one in the back there, that you have, and your tripod there. Your name again?
Jerry?
Jerry. How long have you owned your tripod? Yeah, so tripods can last you a good long time. And today's state of the art may not be tomorrow's state of the art. And you know what? That's okay. Your photographs are going to be just as sharp as the next guys. Who has carbon fiber? Okay, what is the advantage of carbon fiber? Lightweight, right? We talked about lightweight. What is the disadvantage of carbon fiber?
Lightweight.
No. Well, that could be, but usually it comes at a price. Usually yeah. I'm sorry?
They tend to be more expensive.
Yeah, tend to be more expensive. Break easier. Who's experienced breakage on their carbon fiber? Yeah, well, you must have been jumping on it. What was the herd of elephants? Yeah.
That's really good. The Vulcan tripod that I have here, that's aluminum, when I originally bought it was like 20 years ago, I paid $300 for it. A year later, I went down to Calumet, same tripod, made in China, knockoff, $100. So if you shop around and look at different things, you can sometimes get some better prices.
Right, but 20 years divided by 300, I think you got a good deal. You know, you got to think of tripods as a multi-year investment, and we'll be talking about that here pretty soon. So one of the advantages we talked about of carbon fiber is weight. One of the disadvantages of carbon fiber is weight, because it's not as sturdy. Sometimes it's not as heavy, it's not as hefty. So sometimes those of us who have center columns, they give you the opportunity to add some weight. So who has one of those pieces? Okay, let's see. Let's take a look what it looks like. Oh, it hangs on the side. So I have the same thing. It hangs on the side here. All right, Bruce's is a little bit easier to see, so I'm going to move the camera around for that. Yep. So it's an actual hanging device. Sometimes it's on the bottom. So it actually has a hanging piece. And what would you hang on the bottom? Camera bag, oftentimes. What else would you hang on the bottom? What'd you say?
Water bottle.
Water bottles. That's a great idea. Portable and stay hydrated all at the same time. Bag of rocks, right? That's oftentimes what I've seen used is a bag of rocks over there. But your camera, camera bag with a couple of heavy lenses, that'll add a couple of pounds and make it more sturdy. And you want sturdiness in your tripod. That's one of the things you want. Now you don't want it swaying, because that's the opposite of sturdy, right? We don't want it swaying. So shooting in the wind is always a challenge, no matter how you slice it over there. Okay, so we talked about what the tripod is made for. Let's take a look. Who has center columns? Okay, center columns. Russ talked about it. What's the main advantage of a center column? Yeah, taller, right? Boom, boom, boom. Move that. Move that up. I can now go taller. What's the disadvantage of a center column? Not as stable. The most stable function, the most stable that your tripod could be is when it's, when the legs are fully extended out. That's the most stable that it could be. And when you move those when you move it in, it becomes less stable. And the higher this goes, the less stable it can be. And if you don't really crank that sucker down, then you've got real problems. Because you're bumping it, you're hitting it, it's moving, and you really have to crank it down. But does have a center column the end of the world? No, I use it all the time. Carl, what do you got?
My tripod came with an extra one, so if I want to shoot low, I don't have to have, well, this is gonna get in the way if I try to get the tripod down flat, so I could go a lot lower with the
Yep.
lower, where's this?
Yeah, just a sec. Center column. So one is yes.
Did you reverse it? I thought you could reverse it.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that here in a minute. Shooting really low. Wayne,
No, it just pops out, this slide, well, this slides in, then I gotta put the head on.
so look how tall this is shooting. Now, Bruce, you're not a short guy. Let's take a look here. You have no center column. No center column, but you found a tripod that will hit your height.
Yep.
So your physical height is a factor into which tripod that you will be looking at. You wouldn't look at something that is this tall. This is as tall as mine goes. That's you would just eliminate that. So when you're shopping for tripods, making sure that you have the height as a factor is a good consideration to have. Yeah. Right? The legs. Right? You got, okay, so right? So would that be more steady or less steady? Less steady, right? Now, it's nice and the whole thing is nice and light. And if I remember right, how much did you pay for it? $100. Okay, so this is a great travel tripod for sure. Rick.
I'll show another advantage for a center column, especially if you're shooting macro stuff straight down. Up on a tripod, you're shooting at an angle. You want to get straight down. By the time center column will pull right out, slide in, then now you can adjust this on where you want it
Brian, come on.
and be able to shoot straight up and down. And you don't have to be low. You can have your legs extended up as far as you want, be able to get for like macro shots.
All right. You can also then turn it upside down. Explain how this works.
Okay, so this was a special edition manifesto. So it's like yours, but it can go any way you really want, and you can actually replace these legs however you want.
Yeah, same with these.
Yeah, so which is great. So yeah, this is a great way if you're shooting for ball heads, not use it with a gimbal upside down. Another thing. So when you get to tripod heads, this is not able to be used on a gimbal, but you can shoot extreme macro. You can go sideways like that, almost any way you want. It's actually heavier than most too. This weighs about 12 pounds.
So mine does similar. Pop my plastic piece off. The problem with anything that you take off of your camera has a tendency to roll somewhere. So it then will also turn upside down that I can then pop through and then do similar and put. So that's, I'm able to go all the way to the ground because this is a center column, because because I have a center column, I can't go all the way to the ground. Even though my legs will go. My legs will go. That center column keeps it. I can go all the way to the ground here, but that's as low as I can go. So if I want to go lower to the ground, I've got to come up with some other way. And so upside down is one way. Having a little short, tiny tripod is another way. Platypods is another option. Gorilla tripods, yep. So those, yeah.
Bruce, one thing we're about being aware of when you're doing anything like this, you're putting a lot of weight out there and it's going to have a tendency to try and fall over.
Ah,
So.
does anybody have a story about their tripod falling over? Wayne?
In Ireland with a group of about, I guess there were 8 people, and I wanted a picture of the whole group on these rocks on the ocean, looking up to the north. So I had the camera on the tripod about 20 feet away with my remote in my hand, and we all watched as the wind came up and knocked the whole thing over and broke the telephoto right off.
Oh, ouch. I was in shooting up at the Kimberly Crest up here, and I was inside. I had the tripod all the way extended, which was great. Very sturdy when it's all the way extended. And had my camera on top. But there was more than one photographer in the room, and the room was a little bit short. So I thought, well, let me just, oh. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just squeeze my legs in. Now I'm nice and tight, which was great. But then I put my camera on and I had it this way. Where's the, and this was, so it became now top heavy. And it was this way, okay? Top heavy. Well, I thought, no problem, I'll just hold it. But all of a sudden it still fell forward. I grabbed it. The laws of physics, equal opposite reaction, you grab the force. So the camera didn't have it tightened up on the top. It snapped, fell off, and the lens sheared right off the camera. $300 later, that was my, instead of getting a new lens, that was my present, was fixing the old one. So keep these things wide when you can. And if not, at least be aware and make sure that you are, sometimes you're in crowded situations and you've got to kind of sneak them in. Just be very careful about what you're doing. So center columns, love them or hate them, they're, most of us have them. So you just got to deal with it. So if you wanted to go higher, Bruce, what would you do?
Bring him in.
Yeah, there's not much.
You don't have to use the center column.
Mhm.
It's something that you can use if you need it. Another thing is I try to always set it up so that I'm between 2 legs and I've got 1 leg out to the front. So if I have a heavy lens, the center of gravity is a lot farther. It's still over the base.
Okay, that was worth the price of admission. Yeah, that was worth the price of, excuse me, maybe afterwards.
Okay.
The price of admission. Make sure that you put the pointy end put the pointy end up front. That way, if there's a heavy lens, it has this extra piece that my lens wouldn't have fallen over, but I had it this way, thinking that I could then stand here and be very protective of it, but it then fell forward.
Well, if you
So-
go with that leg in the front, you don't have to straddle the leg, you can stand between the legs, which makes it more comfortable for me.
And it makes so much more sense. I'm just now, I mean, I'm like, why didn't I, yeah, so, that could save you hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars in equipment. Yes, Russ?
You know, Bruce,
You know, even if you have, for example, your tripod with the legs spread all the way apart, if you're in a windy area, the wind can sit there and catch your camera and tripod and blow it over. So even if you have it all the way out, you can still run into a problem. So you just have to be really careful when you're in the element. The other thing I would say is with your tripods that you consider on buying is consider how you're using the tripod. Where are you going to use it? Are you using it for landscapes? Or are you doing more product photography? You know, how are you using the tripod will determine a lot of maybe the type of tripod you want to buy and the tripod head that would you want to use. So
All considerations. And again, look how, put that on the table if you would.
no column, and it sits really low. It will not fall over that way.
Yeah. You don't have to worry.
Pod that will do the same thing
Yeah.
for a lot less money. You can get really low.
A lot less space.
Yes. So there are different brands of, so let's look, okay, we've looked at the bottom.
Most of the tripods have a way you can actually extend the legs like.
Even more.
Bruce has done now further, so you can give it a bigger base that will in fact be impervious to high winds.
Right.
So you-
Which is great when you're on your own or with just a few friends. Sometimes you're in these locations and there are 100 or more photographers all jammed up against each other. And so what would you suggest then? How would you sturdy your base? Go lower. Right? If you can, move it lower. The lower your triangle, the more sturdy it's going to be. All right, let's talk about, yeah, take a look at this. Nice. That's a nice long base. And again, looking at whatever options that you have here. And this is sturdy. Boy, I haven't. Yeah, this is our really right stuff. It also stands for really expensive stuff, but it's very, very beautiful.
Camera because
Yeah.
you get another outlet.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at heads. What kind of head do you have on your camera? Yeah, Rick.
Just one more thing on your tripod. You want to get a tripod with a level built into the tripod also. Because again, if you're shooting panoramics, you have to have a very level base set up. So then when you start panning across, you're not shooting up and downhill.
How many of you have shot a tripod or a panorama and it went
Yeah.
and then you got to use the usable spot so it uses about that thin all the way through.
Yeah.
That's no fun, especially if you've traveled a long way to get wherever it is that you're going.
With a level built into it, you can set your tripod up even in, very uneven ground, hillside or whatever, but still get it completely level.
Right. Now you use more than just the level on the tripod to level your camera. You want to show how you do that?
I've always had a level that goes on the camera also. Yeah, I know Most cameras now, you can open it up, and you can go into your level thing and look at it. Okay, now it's level, and then you shoot the picture, and then you go over here. Then you gotta open this back up again, bring it back up. With this, okay, it's level. Boom, it's level. Boom, it's level. It's very quick, very easy, getting you a nice level shot. It doesn't matter whether I'm zoomed in, zoomed out, it doesn't matter. It's very quick, easy, and it pops right off if I need to transport it or something like that. But very simple, and it's not requiring you. And I swear, no matter how much you say, yeah, every time I adjust my camera just a little bit, yeah, I'm gonna open the thing back up and check the level again, you're lying. You're not gonna do that. You shoot this, and I've had it on my tripod before, because I don't get the tripod absolute level every time. It's just when I'm gonna shoot panoramics. A lot of times I have it on a tripod. If I just go like that, all of a sudden I'm shooting at a little bit of an angle. That means I would have had to go back in, open it up, and look and make sure it's level. We'll be looking through the viewfinder, maybe, okay, boom, okay, now it's level. But even looking at the little level thing inside the viewfinder, a lot of times I'm looking at it, I'm not finding it get level. It's too hard to see, it's too small. With this, guaranteed every time, I'm level.
So that's a handy tip if you haven't considered using something like that.
And I think you can buy 2 of them for about $10.
Yeah.
Years ago, Frank made us buy all of it.
That was, yeah. Yeah.
Just because the camera is level in one direction, it may not be level in all directions. This plate has to be, whatever you're pivoting on has to be the level part. And what I've done is I use a little thing in the camera built in, and I spin from one side to the other, and I watch as I spin to make sure that it's the same level all the way around.
Does anybody have a leveling base built into their tripod? That's, yep, okay. So how does that work, Bruce?
It allows me to, the thing walks back and forth, so I can, it's got a level right here, so I can just level it and then tighten it, and it's level.
And you're good to go. So it has that bubble level on top that you're looking at, and you just want that centered. Brian, does yours work similarly?
Mine has no lip.
Oh, that sounds like an oops. Oh, well, there you go. You've had it for a while over there. So let's take a look at heads. Who has a ball head on top? Okay, look at, we've got a lot of ball head users. What's the advantage of ball heads? Yeah, you go, Carl, you've got one on yours, and you can just aim it anywhere you want it. Yep.
Also, let you go even horizontal.
Right? You can go horizontal, you can go vertical, any way you want it. You got a ball, you've got a ball head over on yours?
Yeah.
Yep. Dave, yours came built in, right? Just right on there. Julie, similar, just ball head right on there. Right? So that is a huge advantage of having a ball head. Take a look at that one over there. That's a ball head. And it also then can pivot, correct? It can spin left and right, right? Right. So some of the ball heads then can also act as a panorama head as well. So once you get that level, it can act as a pivot on that. So you've also got, what other kinds of heads do you have? Who's got a gimbal? All right, we got a gimbal. Deborah, why would somebody use a gimbal?
Well, for me, I use it for birding because you can tilt it this way and that way and this way and that way. But Bruce taught me something that I also use it for my camera for night photography by getting this adapter plate so that I could put my camera on it, not just the collar of a long lens on it. So I don't know if I can hold this and do this, but if you're not familiar with them, they they move this way, they move that way, so you can be sitting there and, you know, move your lens all around, and they're very mobile for that reason. And this is a knockoff on Wimberley. This is a Joby, but it's affordable, and it's certainly heavy enough, you know, and sturdy enough to hold the lenses that I have.
Right. Bruce, you've got a gimbal head as well.
Really nice.
This is a rather interesting one. It's very small compared with the other ones, but one of the advantages of having a kit like this is you're able to attach the long telephotos to them and adjust it back and forth so they're balanced. So if you let them go, they basically will be level.
They're not tilting forward or
Yeah.
backward.
But as you want to use it, it gives you all the flexibility, and you can either loosen it or tighten it on it, how well it works. And I use this very extensively for bird photography. And one thing that I like about it is it's small, it's lightweight, it gives me a lot of flexibility on how this thing works. And one thing I like about the whole assembly is that so often as the birds come, I actually have to lift it up.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I like, that is it's carbon fiber and light enough. It's sturdy. That and this thing comes out, but if you're wanting to do video type of thing, it allows you to have a smoother hands. and
Okay.
actions.
What is the maker, who makes that?
This is a
brand?
Photo Pro.
Photo Pro, oh, the
Eagle.
combo kind of, yeah. I knew they were making something that was.
So it's got all the bells and whistles I want. This thing, I can move it up and down and then actually take it off. And one feature that I really like about this particular brand is that so often when you're dealing with the heads, you can actually have them fall off. This thing will not take it out unless you actually push a button that allows you to remove it. And as you're doing with yours, I have an L bracket on my camera. So if I want to use the camera, I can simply lock it in here, either horizontally or vertically.
Lisa Langell recommends those. I know I was kind of looking at them.
Is that the brand that she does?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Brand that
if I have
one kind of.
I keep a wish list of tripods, you know, it's like, this is the one I can afford, this is the one I wish I could afford, and this is the one I dream about. That's the one I dream about. Yeah.
And they had also, there's the markings around it. So if you're doing the pan, you can say, okay, I want to do 10 degrees. You can actually do 10 degrees. You can see it.
Yeah, that's very common on a pan head.
Yeah.
All right, who has a geared head?
Well, I do, but I want you to.
Yeah,
share. You
I
use
do. I got a gear
yours.
head. That's not a gear head, but it's a three-way head. That's over there, right? You got one? Gear head? You got a gear head? I've got a gear head.
I have a
And,
new gear then.
right, so I'm going to learn to turn it around this way. So I can stand between. I can stand between. I've got my gear head over here. And a gear head allows you. Where's my? Gear head allows you to flip all three ways. One of the great flexibilities of a ball head is that with a ball head, you can go move anywhere very, very quickly. The challenge is once you loosen it, the tendency is the ball head goes whoop, and you just whatever composition that you have, it just, and then you gotta refine it and reacquire it.
Actually, for more for video cameras. probably.
No,
Because they're more flexible and they don't.
no, they're just a lot of in fact, half the people here have ball heads.
Yeah, what
So-
did you start out with? What type of tripod? Was it a gear head or a ball head?
I would imagine most people
Yeah.
start with the ball head.
Most people start, yeah,
Just a three-way, most of
right.
Three-way.
A three-way, so you've got the three, I've had that.
Three-way like
You've got a
that.
three-way, Brian, right?
What was it?
So with the gear head, I can move, I can find my composition, and if I want to move it up a little bit, I do that. I didn't have to reset anything. If I want to, I can move quickly. But if I want to move just a little bit to the right, a little bit up, little bit tippy to get that level we were talking about,
Maybe you have more control over it.
it gives you a little bit more control. Similar to what you have here, where you pull out, unloosen, it can whoop, it can tip
How
too
about the
much.
friction? Now, how do you, why would you?
The
have
friction, the idea is right. I just have never gotten the friction to work right. Yep.
There's also a different thing. There's another type of ball head that's actually a ball head within a ball. And it's very flexible because you can lock in one leg, lock that in, and then it only allows action in the other.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. And this is another kind of geared head, right? Has the three axes on there.
It allows you to do fine adjustments. In only one direction. If you need to do a fine adjustment, just, and if you're trying to decide, do I want more sky or less sky, you can rotate. I get the right one.
Yeah. That is one of the challenges of the gear head. Is it this one? No. Is it this one? Is it this one? So
Following the moon or the sun, as we're doing on the eclipse, just cranking a little bit.
Yeah.
Every time.
something that's moving. Okay, last thing that I want to talk about on the tripods. How do you attach your camera to the tripod? What kind of methodology do you have? Now, I find that there are three main kinds. One is Manfrotto. You've heard, we've got, who has a Manfrotto? Okay, Manfrotto. Okay, got a Manfrotto. So Manfrotto is a very popular, well-valued, long-lasting tripod, but they have their own method of attaching to the camera. The other is called Arca-Swiss. Arca-Swiss is a manufacturer that came up with a wonderful, easy way to attach your camera. And it is pretty much universal. Any Arca-Swiss knockoff will work with any Arca-Swiss methodology. And so I did the same thing, Dave. I was looking at your setup and I was chuckling because I did the exact same thing. I had a Manfrotto head and I wanted to attach an Arca-Swiss to it. So I put an Arca-Swiss on top of my Manfrotto head. And it gives you the kind of the best of both worlds. Yep.
Yeah, you just get the plate.
Yep, just the plate.
It's just
Okay,
this little, you just screw it on like you're screwing on your camera, but it's just the plate.
And then the Arca-Swiss.
And the Arca-Swiss, the L bracket.
It was on
camera.
top of it. Yes.
And what I've done is I put these on all the plates that I have.
Right.
So now
Right.
it does, and on some of them I've mounted like the gimbal head for an Arca-Swiss or to the Manfrotto. So I switch off to that, or the ball head. Generally on the ball head, I unscrew the head and put the ball head on. If I just want to put it on for one or two, then I just put it on here.
So I said there's three major wins: Manfrotto, Arca-Swiss, and everything else. So there's all kinds of the less expensive tripods. I think like that one over there, this one over here, it has a plastic kind of piece that sticks inside. That's what you were using for this little tiny one.
Tried my
Yep.
Manfrotto plates to see if it'll
Right.
work.
And they kind of squeeze in there and you kind of have to attach that. But once it's attached to your camera, if you want to use it on another camera or you want to stick another camera on there or something else, you have to unscrew it again. One of the options that I had heard about was an L bracket. This is an Arca-Swiss L bracket. So what that means, I can put it on this way, but for panorama, typically you're shooting the other way. So if I had a ball head I would have to switch and the camera would kind of be out here, right? And when you twist it, when you twist it, it's moving a whole lot. And when you stitch it together, it's very difficult. So if you have an L bracket, and that's exactly what it is, you pop it this way. Now, when I move my camera, 50%, 50%, 50%, 50%,
It doesn't
50%.
flop over like mine?
Doesn't flop over, see?
Like the gear, like, yeah.
Right, yeah.
So what do I do?
But that's one of the challenges. If you put an L bracket on, then you can keep it flat.
Where's, and the L bracket goes,
The L
you
bracket
take off the
goes
Manfrotto?
on your camera itself. So it's not part of the tripod, it's part of.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
It's-
that's
It's the
another
part that
bracket.
fits into the Arca-Swiss clamp.
And it goes on top of the
The
Manfrotto,
Arca-Swiss
And
clamp.
it sits on top.
the Manfrotto piece? Oh, no, you just take it off. We don't have a Manfrotto.
No, that's the Arca-Swiss.
Oh, that's
So
called
that was
Arca-Swiss.
when I learned, when you have an Arca-Swiss, it's not I had an Arca-Swiss L bracket and I wanted to attach it to my Manfrotto head. So that's when I needed the adapter and I got very creative that way.
And I've found that the stuff in China is maybe as good and maybe the same as the stuff that you're buying with the US brand on it for 25% as much. And I think the only difference is it comes out of the back door of the factory instead of the front door.
Hey.
And doesn't get a brand name stamped on it. Or they may be seconds, they may be regionals.
Very possible. I've had good luck as well. Okay, questions, tripod questions. Yes, Wayne.
Oil your ball heads, usually.
I don't know about ball head, but I definitely have to lubricate my my legs, right? So I use my son's Rubik's Cube lube lubrication to lubricate that. Anybody else have to lube their ball heads? No?
I'm concerned about getting dust into that lube.
Yeah. If you get dust and it dries out, whether it's gonna happen. Okay, pricing. How many pricing? You can spend a little to a lot. Is anybody comfortable sharing how much they've spent on their tripod? Brian? That's great.
500 for the tripod, 400 for the tripod head.
Okay, listen to that. Excuse me. Two pieces to this. The body and the head. Those are two whole separate budgets. Two separate budgets. Mine was $250 for the legs. My original, oh, thank you. Oh. I actually had one closer to that, but you've got, and then this was for you.
Well, I bought it used at an auction.
See, that's how you buy it.
I paid $90 for the whole thing. This is about 500 and this is about 400.
Yeah, new. My geared head is about 200, 250. So about, you got it for 224 over there. Who else wants to share prices? Russ?
Okay, so for the really right stuff that you, like this tripod here, this is about $1,500. The ball head that comes on top of it is about another $550, $600.
Yep.
It's gone up in price, but when you buy things, you look at the rating of it because this ball head is rated for a fairly heavy camera, okay? I didn't need to buy this much. I could have got away with this ball head that I have here.
Yep, so you can overbuy. It's possible to overbuy.
Yeah.
Brian?
Depending on your lens, but also on the weight of your camera. You may want to also think about sending a regular camera tripod, a cinematic tripod, which is for movies. And they are mostly gimbal heads on them, and you can get both of them. But some of the bodies, the
They're about 3-4 pieces with the legs and they're very, very strong and sturdy that you can basically drive a car into them and they won't really fall over.
Don't try that at home.
But like one I have is about $7,000.
Yep. So you can spend a lot of money on tri. So we talked about $100 over there. We've talked about $1,500 over here. Bruce, just shake your head if it was more. 1,200 for the whole thing. So now we talked about tripods being multi-year investments. So I've had my setup here for 8 years. So 500 divided by 8, that's not too bad per year, what your cost per year is. Jerry, you said you had yours for 20 years, right? So whatever your investment was, it's been spread out. It's over a long period of time. It's been depreciated and you're good to go. Frank Peel, one of our illustrious members for many, many years, one of my favorite memories of Frank, it was, we were up in Big Bear, we're going to photograph the Milky Way, and he was the Pied Piper of tripods. And he would talk about the importance of sturdy tripods and making sure, you didn't have the center column, or make sure that it was down low. And he was a big proponent of investing in your gear, because when you have good gear, you treat it right, it will treat you right, and it will just make everything about the process easier. You won't be fighting your gear. It'll be a joy to use and a joy to shoot. Russ?
Just, I told you how much I paid for this, but there's another side of it. A lot of people sell their gear to KEH. You could go to this KEH and buy this for a lot less money. Used equipment. Good used equipment is still very good to use.
Yep.
You don't have to go out and buy new. And so KEH will sell some of you the products that are used.
KEH, MPB, those are two companies that sell. I just sold a whole bunch of stuff to MPB. Did some lens swapping. Any other questions on tripods? We've covered from top to bottom. Tracy? Monopods? Well, we've got a couple of monopods running around here. Russ, you got a monopod. I've got a monopod. So why do you use a monopod? Right? Monopods. I use this when I'm using my heavy lenses. My 160 to 500. I need the portability. When you're out, in my case, I would either be shooting wildlife, maybe up at Yucaipa Regional Park, where this, if I'm trying to run around and, you ever pinch your finger? Yeah, you gotta watch pinching your fingers. You're running around, then you gotta set up and move it back. And now I gotta put my camera back on top. With a monopod, the camera sits on, you have an Arca-Swiss. Over here. And then because this is built for the larger lens, so it's the opposite way, but I can tilt it, which it would actually go this way. Because I'm putting the lens on, so the lens goes this way. So I attach it, and so it just stays on there. And so then I can pick it up, run, set it down, up, down, and so it's more for running and gunning.
Do you have like a ball, switch thing on the top, like the radio tripod, or is it more just?
This is just up and down, right? Because left and right, I can move it this way, right? Left and right, I can aim it this way. So up and down just gives me a little bit more stability. So I use this when I'm shooting the bowl with my 150 to 600. So that lens ended up being really, really heavy. It's 100 degrees outside. It's really, really heavy. So this year I invested in a 70 to 200 f4, which is a quarter of the weight and gives me most of the reach. So
When Christine Pence and I went to Alaska to shoot to shoot bears,
mhm.
and they come really close to you, and it's a big photographer's thing, you know, there were like 20 photographers from different lodges out there, all set up with their tripods, and when the bears move, they couldn't get them, because they will come really close to you or far away, but the monopod, we could be sitting in the sand and move all around with the monopod, so
Very, very
it
easy.
was far more flexible than a tripod.
So there's different kinds of feet. Then we're talking about the feet, just the same way that there's feet for your tripod, there's feet for the monopod. This one it could stand all by itself. So it has,
I take them in.
yeah,
You know, my wife likes to go buy me these photography equipment and she doesn't bother to ask for my opinion before she buys. This is a Christmas present. The thing I like about this monopod is places will not let you take a tripod into their places. They will allow you to take a monopod. And so because it has 3 weights on it, it's a little bit more steady. I can let go of it and it won't fall over. But I thought that was rather nice.
yeah. So there is a lot to do. So we're going to go ahead and, what do you got over there? Oh, it's a transformer. Over there. So stick around, let other people come lift your tripod, knock it, pick it up, get to know each other as we talk tripods. Great seeing you all tonight. Carl?
I got one equipment share story.
Okay.
It just happened to be last week. I was in San Diego. We had a little cottage right next to the bay. I was taking pictures of birds and it started to get dark and I finally couldn't take any more pictures. It was getting cold, so I took the camera off the tripod, took it in the house, put it down, forgot about the tripod.
Oh, no.
Tripod sat outside all night. Well,
Oh, no.
it's nice, good tripod, it's fine. But not only is it a tripod, it's a seagull. I had a cleaning task. I had to get it to work.
That is awesome. So, anybody left online? A few. Thanks so much, guys, for sticking around. We're gonna talk tripods here, and yes, please.
Photographic Society of America, the local chapter group, is having an event May 4 and 5 in Palm Springs. If you're a member of it costs $45 a year to be a member of the Photographic Society, and the event, which is a 2-day event, costs $25. But it's a pretty good deal. Lisa Langella is speaking, and then her partner is speaking in the afternoon. They lead some photo walks through Palm Springs or through Morongo, Big Morongo, and places that we can go to because we know of them, but there's no charge for those. And then they have a couple of meetups where they're going to go to the living desert out there. So if anybody's interested, let me know. So I think
I can't believe I missed you. You should have said so.
Oh, no, that's all right. I forgot about it.
Yeah.
One other announcement type thing, anybody that's interested right now, the month of February, anybody 65 and older can get into Walden Safari Animal Park for free.
Really? All of
Get into
February?
wherever in February.
San Diego,
Oh,
Wild
that's
Animal?
good.
Yeah.
San Diego Wild Animal Park.
Oh, wow.
Safari Park.
Safari Park.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Fancy.
So I was just, yeah.